Hello and welcome to German Cinema Now, a monthly film series from Goethe Pop Up Seattle with Northwest Film Forum. My name is Martin Schwartz and I'm the program curator at Goethe Pop Up, and I'm thrilled to be joined here today by Artur Summereder, who is the director of the film Motorcity, which many of you will have just seen. Artur, thank you so much for joining us from Vienna. And
thanks for having me.
Of course, it looks like a lovely sunny evening over there. Not so bad.
Exactly.
Let me start by saying that I am not a car person at all. I got my first car during the pandemic when it got irritating not to leave my block, but I loved this film. I found the sequences of the engine builds, the mechanical preparation, and of course the races themselves bizarrely compelling. And you transmitted the sort of excitement of the automotive incredibly well. From what I can tell, you're a fine artist and a scholar. Can you tell me a little bit about your background and how you became interested in drag racing?
Thanks for having me. I hope you like the film.
Yes.
Thank you for that. Well, the car, I don't know, it interested me for a very long time. Like I have, as so many boys, I was playing a lot with cars. And then somehow I kept on with this, or I kept on also like questioning like where does it come from? Why does cars in general play such a big role in society? And I think there's a lot more than just the commodity that it also represents, like you just said. I mean, which is obviously a very big part of it, but I think it also is the success of the car has to do because it embodies a lot of ideas and longings, and that made me pursue this thinking of cars and how does it come from, why and where. And then of course Detroit is the first, is one of the first places you should head off to see. And there obviously it plays a very special role also. And then if I may go on, like this like you said, this kind of like drag racing, it really makes a lot of sense to like when you're coming from Detroit, because it's as much about building a car and this pride of assembling it, putting it together, than it is about the driving actually. And that fascinated me, although when I first saw it, like drag racing for a European eye, it looks quite almost absurd.
Yes.
Like we are like Europe like has this enduro races where it's like 24 hours, and the biggest difference, of course, which attracted me the most also later on, is this this idea that European racing is about problems and you have to like avoid crashing into something that is in your way, blocking your way. And the American way just goes without those problems and things. And that really, I found this eye-opening.
No, absolutely. And I feel like it was really embodied in that short clip that you showed from the race in Monte Carlo, and how that's the absolute opposite. The problems in European racing are outside the car and how you adapt the car to them. Whereas it seems like maybe one of the points that the film is making is that the problem, if you will, in this American drag racing is within. And it's once your power is correct, then you unleash it onto the world. You make a lot of there are a number of kind of, for me, really unexpected connections that come up in the picture around urban planning, America versus Europe, as you already kind of touched on, and even Manifest Destiny, the union situation in the American car industry, the history of the city of Detroit, of course, techno music. Did you expect some of these lines of inquiry to come up during the filming, or were you surprised?
Well, I mean, I did a longer research before I started shooting, and already during this research, like it, or even before, in a way, it was really I enjoyed really delving a little bit into America as a place, because it's like as from Europe, like from a distance. America seems very familiar for us, but once you get closer to it, you see it's actually it's very different, and it's not so not so familiar actually at all. And so, and yeah, and then I was like researching in all kind of different like kind of drifting, and there came up a lot of things, and the techno, like this Manifest Destiny images, for example, but the also, which is like just a direction, like you don't head out to a certain place, it's west that you go. And that's also where Mike Banks, which came, like he came in later, like the techno, I didn't it was certainly a point of attraction for me to go to Detroit, but I didn't hope actually to embody this in a film about drag racing, until I found out, I came across it by chance, that Mike Banks also is, or used to be, into drag racing, and he agreed to talk to us, and he was such a great figure for me. Like I admire him even more now that we had our encounter, but he's so great for the film also, because he puts me in place and he tells me, like, come on.
He really does. Like, enough of this ruin porn shit. He says something like that at some point.
He puts me in place, and it's not that original, like your great ideas that are, I mean, it's an idea, but okay. We got you, we had them too. And I really like that. And that's also in general my kind of, or I try to make this my general approach, that, I mean, I come there as some kind of, like not a really scientific, but some kind of almost like a hobby ethnographer or anthropologist who like encounters certain phenomena and then gets an idea about it. And I mean, I think it's valid to present some ideas that you have, but it's this kind of essayistic form that I take very serious, that this is not the truth. It's an idea from an outsider, and maybe it's inspiring for others too to hear about it.
Absolutely. No, there is a clear consciousness of perceptions of European cultural elitism throughout the picture, and it comes, it becomes the text when you're speaking with Mike. How were you able to persuade your interview subjects to trust you, that you weren't going to make them look stupid?
Yeah, I mean, Mike Banks, he was very conscious about it, as he's really aware of how the media works, I think. Yeah, I mean, we talked a lot about beforehand, like how and what can we do, and this was like as much as he would agree on doing with us. But he was skeptical, and I can really understand, like from what it says about this European flux that came to Detroit in a certain period of time, which I was certainly one of them in the beginning, before I started to look for something else. I hope that was not just this kind of spectacle of this economic disaster. Also. Yeah, but I mean, also with the racers, it was very difficult, because people were skeptical at first, like, where is this European, seemingly European person interested in us? It's very unusual.
Although someone thinks you're Australian.
Yeah, whatever. I don't mind.
No, no.
But yeah, I think also there was this kind of there was really this skepticism that this might be an undercover police investigation. And yeah, I don't know. It was really, I think it was really Johnny who had this I don't know how to say the term in English, but this kind of street smartness that he could know that like when he met me that this is not a cop.
Yeah.
Like, and he told his friends, I think, come on guys, keep it real, he's not police. Like, they don't get this guy with an accent.
Right.
And
were you able to, I mean, did you come in with a certain degree of knowledge about cars that you were able to demonstrate, or did you have kind of knowledge about driving? Did you drive yourself?
Yeah, interesting question. I mean, I know a little about cars, but I'm not an expert. Certainly when it comes to like assembling engines or whatever, and also I never was into race driving myself. But I think what more connected us was this kind of I mean, the protagonist, the racers, and me was this like when you do something with enough passion, or how to put it, like that kind of connected us. And I think it was like I really cared for making this documentary, and they felt I'm serious about it as much as I admired them for being serious about what they do. And I think, I think it was an understanding from there that I don't I'm not coming here to judge or to make fun. I was like truly fascinated by this devotion.
And you spent your, what was it, New Year's Eve working on an auto build? So it's especially for someone from Vienna, that's an investment. And how long did
Which
it take?
I was gladly
good.
making.
No, that's clear. That's clear. How long did it take you to make the film? And can you maybe just talk a little bit about the process?
Yeah, I was there for the research. That was in 2016, I think. Spent some time there. I met most of the protagonists, and then it took me a year to get the script together and funding, and then I was like 2018, from the start of the year, I was there a lot, and had to go back to Europe sometimes, but spent a lot of time there. And I mean, it was a challenge to make a film about like something that basically gathers around the event. It only takes a few seconds, so that was interesting, but also challenging. And then the pandemic came, actually, and I thought I gotta go and film for another week or two, because I had some ideas in the book that I wanted to in the script. But then the pandemic came, and I started editing, and I realized it's actually, I guess it's enough. And
did you ever get behind the wheel?
No. I mean, there's this one moment when I'm in this sleeper car, when I'm in the passenger seat. But that was my experience.
That was frightening enough.
It was pretty.
I can imagine. Just wanted to ask about the music. The music plays a really important part in the film, and I mean, I for one really like the way that the techno music and the Baroque organ music work together. Can you tell us about how you came up with the concept for the music, and how the final score came together?
Yeah, I mean, it was clear that there's got to be some music from Detroit in the film.
Sure.
And once we connected with Mike Banks, it was obvious that that would be wonderful to get that track by him, which we could agree on in the end, which was great. And I mean, like, I'm very picky about music in documentary filmmaking in particular, and yeah, so I didn't want to have, yeah, this was like played out perfect for me with this track at the time, how it is. And then this organ thing was that was almost like a prefabricated idea that I had, that I don't know, it was like I like this fixed idea which I kind of carried on, and it survived. It's for many reasons. Like, it's this organ is this big machine that is played by one man. It was like the biggest machine that was built at for a time, which also could, I think, had a lot of fascination and for the people at its time.
Sure.
And Baroque music in particular. I mean, first, it's kind of yeah, it's I don't know if I dare to say this, but I think it resembles a lot of things that also I discover in America, that it's for certain parts it's very rationally composed and structured. But also it has this appearance of being something very emotional and romantic. No, maybe not romantic, but emotional. Let's keep it that way. And that's something I find in American many ways, that it's also has this kind of both sides to it. And yeah, the work that it features is a classical work, organ concert by Handel, which was composed for organ and orchestra. And I was introduced by my wonderful colleague, who also gave some great advice to the editing at some point, and he introduced me to Cornelius Schwer, who rewrote, like he had a good time, I think, pretending to be Handel, or thinking like to be Handel, like how would he have approached this
as a solo work?
Exactly. Like, I wanted to get rid of the orchestra because this was like too much. And this is how it came together.
No, it's great. And the track from Mike, did he made that especially for the film?
No, this was somebody, like, I listened through pretty much their entire discography, and I loved this one.
It's wonderfully chosen. No, and it's a great point about the kind of technique of the technicality of the organ. It is a very big machine that actually relies on extremely involved mechanical principles and engineering, and in many ways a precursor to a car. And I don't think that connection would have occurred to me otherwise. No, that's terrific. And was this your first feature documentary?
Yes, my first feature. Yeah.
Did it take you in a direction that you're going to continue pursuing?
I think so. I mean, it certainly does in some way, but maybe also in a very direct way. It's too early to really speak about, but I think I like, there's a lot of thoughts that spun off of this.
And are you still a drag racing fan?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very like, I have to say, I kind of got into it, even though it's I still don't I cannot really explain it, what's the attraction about it, but there is something. Yeah.
Well, you made a film trying to explain the attraction, and I think you did it very well. And maybe I can't explain it either, but we can get started. So Artur, thank you so much for being here today. I think this has been a terrific conversation. And to any of you who are watching, I guess, on the internet and haven't seen the picture, it's called Motorcity, and I cannot recommend it highly enough.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too.
Ciao.